Welcome to the 1 Minute Apologist.
1 Minute Apologist.
If you had 1 minute to be able to unpack for the audience, we interview the world's leading apologists to provide credible answers to curious questions. How did the Apostle Paul utilize secretaries when composing his letters?
Well, we don't know exactly because he doesn't tell us, but a secretary could take just dictation and write down whatever the person dictated, or he could provide editorial services, proofread, get out errors, make it smoother. If Paul's main language was, let's say, Aramaic, and he was going to write in Greek, it could have made it better Greek. So Ehrman responds and says, well, yeah, Paul used a secretary, we know that, but he didn't use one extensively. He didn't use one for more than taking dictation. And he has to argue that, or else all the arguments against Pauline authorship for the 6 disputed letters pretty much evaporate. So his main arguments against Paul using the secretary for more than just dictation is that the examples we have from antiquity, from say Cicero and Atticus, would seem to indicate that these were wealthy people, highly educated, and third, that the letters that they wrote and employed a secretary on were quite a bit shorter than Paul's letters. Those are his major arguments. And from the extant evidence we have of the ancient Greco-Roman literature, he would be right in that way. That is pretty much what we have. But we do know that Paul used the secretary, and the amount of money it would take just to compose a letter on the materials and use a secretary just for dictation for the letter to the Roman Church would have been a little over $2,000. Paul couldn't have afforded that. And so it would have been gifts given to him, financial gifts. Who's to say that a secretary couldn't have volunteered his services for this? It wouldn't have mattered in terms of the highly educated or being ultra wealthy, because someone still could have come in and volunteered their services to that. People get that all the time in ministry. I'm sure you do. In terms of the length of the letter, he's right. The average letter that a secretary wrote in antiquity, 300 words. For Cicero, 1,000 for Atticus. Paul's letter to the Ephesian church is over 2,000 words. I think it's like 4,000 something. But of interest, it's Paul's undisputed letters that, on balance, are the longest of his letters. Like Romans and 1 Corinthians, Romans is 7,000 words. 1 Corinthians approaches that number, and yet we know that he used a secretary for these letters because it's stated within. So the length doesn't have anything to do with it either. So the major arguments that Ehrman uses against Paul using a secretary extensively all fail.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like they can really hold up when listening to you. Thank you.